Hello everybody and welcome to Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. My name is Jim and I'm the program director here, and we're going to show you some of the programs that we offer here at the aquarium for you to come on down and enjoy with us.
Hi everybody, it's Zach back with another video from the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium in San Pedro. Now today we're going to be doing something super cool. We are going to be hatching fish in the palm of our hand. Now today we're talking about grunion fish. Grunion fish are super cool. They come out of the water to lay their eggs at night, and they actually did that last night here on this beach, Cabrillo Beach in San Pedro. Now we have some of that sand where these fish laid their eggs, and inside of this sand, they're almost invisible to us. We can't see them right now, but there's a bunch of little teeny tiny grunion fish eggs inside of this jar. Now to see them and to hatch them, we're gonna need to add some water. Grunion fish eggs need to be agitated in order for these babies to know that it's time to hatch. So we can look inside of this jar, and if I stir it around a little bit, we'll be able to see all of those eggs mixing up, and they float just on top of the sand, which is super, super cool. I'm gonna go ahead and place that right there. And inside of this jar, we can see the baby grunion fish eyes, they're silver, inside of these egg cases. Now what we do in order to have them hatch is we have to shake them, we have to agitate them. So inside here, we're gonna go ahead and place our hand on top of this jar, and we're gonna shake for about 30 to 60 seconds. We're gonna shake, 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 shake. And over here inside this jar, I actually have some pre-hatched grunion. If these don't go right away, oh, we do have some fish right here. And we can see these grunion fish swimming around just above those eggs. They're super, super teeny tiny, but you can see those little silver eyes on them and the eggs floating around in the center of the jar. Now the way that these guys hatch is they're gonna pop like little pieces of popcorn outside of their shells, and they're gonna start swimming around. A cool fact about the grunion fish is they're actually gonna double in size in the next hour after they hatch. Now, during the summer here at the Cabrillo Aquarium, we let our guests hatch these eggs too. So you can have the opportunity to hatch fish in the palm of your hand as well. And then what do we do with these fish after? We actually take all of the eggs that we've hatched and we dump them back into the ocean to give these fish the best chance of survival for life. So thank you so much, thanks for watching, and have a great day.
Hi, I'm Carl from Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. Today we're going to take a look at the Salinas de San Pedro salt marsh. Let's go down and take a look at it. When you look at the Los Angeles and Long Beach Harbor complex, all 3,500 acres of it at one point was all wetlands, salt marshes, estuaries, mudflats, places where animals came to for nurseries, for food, for shelter. That's all been developed by people over the years. So our salt marsh here at Cabrillo Beach, the Salinas de San Pedro, is the last remaining bit of wetlands in this entire complex. The trail down to our salt marsh has a lot of native plants growing alongside of it. Not so much native to the mainland of California, but to our Channel Islands just off our coast. Plants like the St. Catherine's lace, island snapdragon, even the purple flowers of the island mallow. These are all plants that would normally be living on the islands or here on the mainland, even without people here. So they're great to have around the home. They don't require a lot of water or fertilizer, and they attract hummingbirds, butterflies, our native bees, all sorts of pollinators. Wetlands, like our salt marsh here, are very important features of the natural water system. They act as filters, trapping pollutants, chemicals, sediments as they travel down the rivers and streams on their way to the ocean. By slowing the water down, allowing sediments to fall and absorbing chemicals out of the water, the plants along the wetland and the wetland itself help keep our oceans clean. They're also highly important as nurseries. Many ocean fish will come into a salt marsh like this to have their babies because there are far fewer predators here than there would be out in the open ocean. And also for migrating birds. This is an excellent place to stop and rest, get some food, and relax on their long migrations from north to south or south to north.
Hey everybody, it's Zach back with another video from the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium in San Pedro. We're here at our tide pool touch tank at the back of the aquarium where we let guests come and touch some animals that you might find in the natural tide pools. What I have for you here first is I have a knobby sea star. We can see just how big this guy is. He's got 5 arm segments. If we flip him over, we can go ahead and see that he has a bunch of tube feet all over his arms moving around. On the ends, he has super tiny tube feet that are used to smell and taste the water. On his back, though, is something super cool that I want to show you. We can't actually see this with our naked eye, but we know they're there, and I can show you in just a moment what they are and how they work. If we take a look at this sea star, we can see that sea stars, for the most part, always have their backs super clean all the time. And the reason for this is they are trying to protect their gill-like structures that they have in their back. The way that they do that is with little tiny pinchers that we can't see called pedicelaria. Now, I can show you how these pedicelaria work. You can see that my arm has a bunch of arm hairs on it, and the sea star doesn't want anything covering up its gill-like structures. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my arm on the back of this sea star momentarily. I'm going to let those pedicelaria grab onto my arm hairs, and as we can see as I slowly pull away, he's definitely got some of my arm hairs pinched up in those pedicelaria on his back. Now, this is good for sea stars because if a piece of kelp might fall onto his back or something, they can just pick it off its back and toss it away, making sure that their backs are always clean. And what we're going to be talking about today is one of my personal favorite animals, is our sea anemones. Right now we're here at our touch tank at the back of the aquarium where we let guests touch the animals that you might find in tide pool areas. Now, this sea anemone you may have seen before, but looking at it, it does look like a plant, but these guys are actually animals. They are probably one of my favorite animals because of the way that they feel when you touch them. If you see, I'll put my finger just in between the tentacles of this sea anemone, and it thinks I'm a piece of food, so it tries to grab onto my finger, and it pulls itself in. If I pull away a little bit, its tentacles feel super sticky. And the reason why it feels sticky is just like jellyfish, they have something called nematocysts. And these are stinging cells that are coiled up in its tentacles that have a little trigger hair that when you pass by it, the coil springs out and harpoons into your finger, releasing some poison. But I'm okay, so how does that work? Well, our hands are so thick with layers of dead skin that the harpoons don't go all the way into us and it can't hurt us, making these guys super cool to feel and touch, knowing that they're trying to eat us, but they can't.
Southern California is a really unique habitat. As a matter of fact, we've documented over 30 species of whales, dolphins, and porpoises right here in Southern California. That's a third of all that can be found in the entire world. And as a matter of fact, we have seen the largest whale in the world here. Do you know what that is? Check it out, it's the blue whale. That's right, the blue whale is the largest whale in the world, but we also often see the gray whale, and that is our favorite whale. We're gonna talk a little bit more about it. Come on in and check one out. Right above us here, you have a 1-year-old gray whale skeleton. This gray whale died of natural causes, but we were able to reassemble all the parts and be able to put it on display so that you could see the size of just a 1-year-old. It fills our room. An adult gray whale can be up to 45 feet or the size of a school bus. Really, really large, and it's only a medium-sized whale in the world of whales. So this is gray whale baleen. This is the outside that faces the water, but check this out. This is the inside that faces the tongue of the baleen, and it's kind of the working side. So this is the area that would filter out all of the animals and wildlife the whale engulfs in its mouth, and it would catch all the prey, and then the tongue would swipe this clean and swallow it down. So this gray whale baleen is made out of keratin, which is the same protein as our hair and our fingernails. And just like our hair and fingernails, it continues to grow over the life of an animal. Unlike teeth that will fall out, this will keep growing, so they always will have some in their mouth. So gray whales will spend 2 to 3 months down here in the lagoons of the Baja Peninsula. These protected lagoons are where they will go to mate and also to give birth. The females will give birth every other year and then stay in the lagoons where they nurse their young and get them built up and nice and fat and strong to make the migration all the way back to their feeding grounds. This distance, this migration that they swim every year is 5,000 to 7,000 miles, and they do it every year. So they're swimming a total of 10,000 to 14,000 miles every single year. It's quite an amazing trek and one of the longest migrations of any mammal in the entire world. Gray whale calves have little dimples on their rostrum. That's that upper portion, as though the area between your nose and lip was pulled out. Their blowholes are on the top of their head, and they have little dimples there with little follicles of hair. It's thought that they use that to be able to detect where their mom is, to be able to indicate, "Mom, I'm hungry," and then the mom will emit a little bit of milk so that that's how they feed them. They're mammals just like us, and so the mom will actually emit a little bit of milk so that they can nurse them. And check this out, this is amazing. They can drink up to 50 gallons of milk every single day to be able to get really, really heavy in fat to make that migration up to the Arctic again. This milk is really thick and nutrient rich. It's up to 53% fat. If you put that into something day-to-day context, the cow milk that you drink is up to 4% fat, right? So low-fat milk is about 2% fat. 53% means it's really, really rich in fat content. It also means it's really thick. It's almost like the consistency of cottage cheese. So when the mom squirts it out, it doesn't just dissipate into the water, but the calf can suckle that up right away. So Cabrillo Marine Aquarium has been taking people out whale watching since the late 60s. And we can't wait to get out on a boat and see a whale. Well, these whales migrate by our coastline starting December 26th and migrate through mid-April to see gray whales. Blue whales, humpback whales, and other species can be seen during the summer months as well. And so we can't wait to take you outside on a boat and get you out into nature and go whale watching. So join Cabrillo Marine Aquarium on a whale watch boat.
Okay, our tanks here are showing our local echinoderms, which means spiny skin. Echino means spine, derm means skin. And the most common of these are the sea stars, which are often called starfish. But to be a fish, you need to have fins and a backbone and gills. Sea stars have gills, but no backbone or fins. They do have these little things you can see, looks like little suckers all along the bottom here, called tube feet. And they actually glue onto structures and hold them in place. Now, sea stars don't have a head, but they do have a mouth right here in the middle. And some of these sea stars eat in a very interesting way, in that, let's say my hand is a clam, they'll wrap their 5 arms around it and keep pulling that until it opens up a little tiny bit, and then they'll shove their stomach all the way into the clam shell, digesting it in its own shell, and then pulling their stomach back in and moving on to the next food. Over here, we have some sea urchins where you can see the spines really well. Our urchins here are not venomous. You can touch them and they're not gonna make you sick or anything, but the spines can be sharp. So you always want to touch things like this very gently. But ours here are not gonna hurt you. You see other stars in this tank here. These big bat stars, which are scavengers. And then on the rocks inside, there are little tiny guys that look like almost like snakes waving around. Those are called brittle stars. There are the sea cucumbers, which also, these guys do have little spikes on their skin, but they're not sharp, strong spikes. They're really soft and fleshy, but they look spiky, making it look more dangerous to eat to its predators than it actually is. The sea stars here have unfortunately taken, the population's taken a dive from a disease called sea star wasting, but in some areas they're coming back, and eventually all areas will probably get these guys back, because they do reproduce by sending their babies all along the water column, so they'll drift wherever the ocean takes them.
Hi, I'm Alex, and we're at the Cabrillo's Outer Beach. This is a super cool habitat, because not only do we have animals in the ocean like dolphins swimming by, but we also have animals that live right along the shore, and we're going to try and find some of them today. So to do that, we need a shovel, we need a sifter, maybe a tub of water in case we find anything, and that's about it. Let's go. One thing that we like to do on Cabrillo Beach is search right along the edge of the water for what animals might be living underneath the sand. And because these animals are adapted to digging down into the sand, we like to use tools that kind of mimic that, gets us close to where they might be. and then that's where the shovel and the sifter come in. One of our local species is a sand crab, also known as a mole crab, and it's a small crustacean. They mostly swim backwards, so when you see them moving, they're moving front this way. Well, I don't know how to say that. They're kind of scurrying themselves backwards. This is a really cool way for them to be able to dig down into the sand. They keep their backs protected, and then they also keep their heads up closer to where the water and where the food is that might be flowing by. They don't have any claws, so if you do see one on the beach and you carefully dig it up, you can hold them in their hands. They kind of tickle, they move around a lot, but they don't have anywhere to pinch you, at least not this species. So another really cool thing about our beach is that we have a kelp forest right off of our coast. And what'll happen when there's a big swell is some of that kelp will get ripped off of the bottom and thrown up on the beach. One of the main species we see is giant brown kelp, and it can grow 2 feet in a day if everything's right, the right amount of sunlight, nutrients, and lots of water, obviously. And so this piece that we had was maybe about, 20, 30 feet? So it can get a lot bigger than that. It's a really good habitat underwater, but then once it's up on the beach, it actually becomes a whole different habitat. So when you see the dry stuff, that's actually decaying. There's bugs that live in it. There's birds that feed on those bugs. So it brings nutrients actually from the ocean and deposits it onto a beach.
Thank you so much for joining us today at Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about what we do, be sure to follow us on social media and visit our website. We hope to see you soon.